This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GULCH20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week in the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with WSMV4 afternoon anchor Lydia Fielder. In today's Walk the Line episode, Lydia gives us a behind-the-scenes tour at WSMV4 Studios. Let's check out the episode. We are in the Heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm very excited. We got my friend on the show. Believe it or not, my next door neighbor when I started the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show. We got the one and only Lydia Fielder in the building.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. I didn't know if we were going to come out of the gate with the neighbor intro, but do you want to tell them how we met?
I mean, first of all, we got to talk about this pig.
Pig?
Sue.
Oh, come on. Go Hogs.
Come
Woo
on.
Pig Suey.
Come on. You know, I surprised her earlier before we got this. I was in this big jacket, and I just wanted to feel like a winner today. So I put on my A&M, my alumnus shirt on that barely fits me.
Well, listen, it still works.
Well, I
you can
appreciate
still
it.
wear it. You know, I'm glad that Arkansas A&M don't have a direct rivalry. Like, if you pulled out an LSU, I might
go crazy.
Yeah, but I feel
don't
like
look
we
good in
can
purple.
share space. And you have Bucky McMillan now, who's a new basketball coach for you. How are
I'm
we feeling about
sad.
that?
I'm sad that Buzz is gone.
Yeah.
But just like, you know, Buzz goes to the moon, he comes back, he goes somewhere else. But speaking of which, well, let's talk about you. And I guess you brought it up. We brought up the, you relocated to Nashville, Tennessee in 2021, right?
Was it 21? It might have been 22.
Was it? No, it was 21.
I was in Northwest Arkansas in 2021.
Really?
So I had a 2.5-year contract in my first job. I mean, we could get right into it. My first week of work in the market in Northwest Arkansas was my third day of work, rather, was the first day of the pandemic coming to the state of Arkansas.
It happens.
So my career has been kind of marked by 2020 and then what happened from there. So yes, I've been in Nashville now coming up on 3 years in October.
Wow. So I guess, yeah. So when I relocated to Nashville, it was 2020. And I guess I assumed that you were next to me about 21. It's nice to know now that it wasn't that long ago.
Nope, it wasn't.
So talk to me about, you know, your love for telling stories.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up in such a digital age too, to where when I was starting in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, all the girls watching this our age will remember YouTube was such a big thing, especially for, which is silly to say it now, but makeup tutorials. Okay, so these makeup tutorials started coming on YouTube. My girlfriends and I in 7th grade would sit and have sleepovers all night and just do each other's makeup, learn how to do it. And then other viral videos, kind of like music parodies, sketches, things like that started coming out on YouTube, and they're shared to Facebook. And so we're just such a plugged in generation digitally that I loved that craft. Also, I love to edit and shoot video. I love stories and reading and writing. And so where this all comes in is I want to create something that people can watch and go, man, that's a story right there. I didn't know that before.
Well, you know, I love that you kind of broke it down like that because, you know, to think about where we all came from, right, where we found the love of digital media, we are the product of that age.
Yeah.
And so are you guys out there watching this. And one thing that I'm realizing really quickly, because you've talked about it, we've had everyone on the show from Bob Mueller and folks that have been in media a long time before the dinosaurs were around. Love you, Bob. But at the same time, though, how different your experiences being in news. And now, you know, shout out to you being an anchor. Because when you first moved here, it was a MMJ, right?
Yeah. Well, it was part-time anchor, part-time MMJ.
That's right.
And even that was a huge step up from what I was doing in Northwest Arkansas. I just could not believe that I was an MMJ in my first market, which was
4029. Where's
4029 News.
That's right.
Great memory. He does his research. This is a professional right here. Bentonville, Rogers, Fayetteville, all the way down to what's called the River Valley, Fort Smith. So That's like market 95, 96. And they're measured, it's market 1 is the biggest city in the U.S., all the way up to over the 200.
What you're talking about is you're talking about the market size for not digital, for news.
Yes.
So like Nashville sitting at like what, 14?
Nashville is now like 24 still.
Really?
Top 25. But it is growing. Yes. But to be in a top 25, top 30 market is huge for me. And so, yeah, I was just an MMJ there in Arkansas, and I applied for the MMJ position here in Nashville thinking I'm going to take whatever I can get because, like you said, news has changed so much. When I was going through J school, journalism school at the University of Arkansas, go Hogs, woo Pig Suey. There it is. Ric Flair has it. Pig Suey, done. Why haven't I ever thought about that? Going through school, they say getting to a market like Nashville or Charleston or Oklahoma City, even some of these bigger markets, you have to work for, at least, or at earliest, rather.
Back then.
Right, and that was the golden age of TV, and that was true. But I know Bob shared it on his episode. It's changed so much, but that was still kind of ingrained in me. Well, I was told that you couldn't get to Nashville for years. So I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring, see what happens. I sent a reel, and I had only ever fill-in anchored a handful of times. But I made a fill-in anchor reel, so maybe let this be an encouragement that I wasn't trying to pretend that I had better skills than I did. I just said, here's what I did. Right. And I interviewed for the MMJ job. They were about ready to hire me for the multimedia journalist position. And then they called and said, actually, I think you would be a good fit for our weekend anchor reporter position. And so that's kind of how I got in the door.
It was a late shift, wasn't it?
So on the weekends, it was 2:30 to 10:30 p.m.
I remember seeing that in the weekends.
Yeah, but during the NFL season, we're NBC at WSMV 4. So Sunday Night Football always preempted our newscast.
Yep, that's right.
So whatever time Sunday Night Football ended, whether that was 10:30, 11, sometimes we went closer to 1 a.m. That only happened a couple times. But yeah, it was, there we were, coming right on with the local news after Sunday night. And then back Monday morning by 9 a.m. or so.
It's wild because it's so cool to have you here in the show because, like we were saying earlier, is that we've known each other kind of since we started here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see you grow into this new, where are you at? You're at 3 o'clock now anchoring? So at the time that we're filming this, you're 3 o'clock anchoring. That's leveling up. And it's just been amazing to see your growth, and not only your growth in your career, but how much you're impacting the city, seeing you out in the red carpets and just having all the fun in the world. But, bring me back to younger you, right? When you were trying to develop these stories. And what was the first story that you feel that helped you in that newsreel that got you a job here in Nashville?
Gosh. So it's funny because social media kind of glamorizes the news job, or we share often like the things that we want to share. So the things that I'm sharing on my Instagram was when I was in my first market. So I was 22 years old, are the stand-ups and the live shots that I'm doing to talk about the rodeo coming up. So I'm on the back of a horse live on TV, or I'm like shooting a basketball and in the batting cages at the World Series because the University of Arkansas baseball team was there. Go Hogs. Just kidding. Exactly. But a lot of what news directors want to see is, okay, yes, everyone can go to the quilt show and talk about, and that's a lot of what a small market news is just different events around the community, kind of soft. But what really makes a newsreel stand out is, can you deliver hard news? Can you deliver breaking news? And so one of my first shots off the top of my reel that I put together was at a tanker truck that had exploded and caught this whole highway forest on fire, and where they are walking through the flames, like showing crews putting that out. Then it cuts to me at a protest in Fort Smith, Arkansas, that's happening right across from a 4th of July independence celebration. And it was a protest after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Wow. And it was a huge group of people protesting, the celebration of independence, and those types of things. Cut to me in front of the courthouse at the Josh Duggar child pornography trial. Like, all those things are super hard news, and that's what drives the newscasts in Nashville.
Yep, that versatility. But, you know, bringing it back to kind of what you're saying, right? Being in news at 21 years old, I can only think about what I was doing at 21 years old that I was broadcasting to the world. Thank God that it's no longer seen. But just give me a regular story, okay? Let's talk about a story. I want you to play a role play for me, okay? You're going to look in that camera right there. You're going to give me work you and then just everyday you, the same story. Okay, and this is going to be a person stealing a glass of milk from a grocery store.
Okay.
Give me reporter you.
Police arrested a woman at Thistle Farms Cafe on Saturday after she walked in the front door into a full restaurant and stole a glass of milk. Police say that she was coming in off the street. This was around 2:40, 2:45 in the afternoon. She took the glass and then walked right out the door. The restaurant staff didn't pursue her, and they've decided not to press any charges. We're working to find more information for you about why this all happened in the first place.
You know, it's absolutely incredible because, yeah, role playing actually helps so much. But you know what else helps? That we take a pause on this episode, thank the sponsors of this video, and be right back with Lydia right after this.
This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GULCH20 for 20% off plus free shipping today.
You know, before we got off air here, we were having such a great conversation about all the people at WSMV Channel 4 here in Nashville. So kind of give me a little rundown of the amazing folks that you work with every day.
I mean, Carol Sullivan was featured on an episode with you. She is the host of our lifestyle show. That woman has the most energy of all time, always. She's dealing with so many different people. There's circus acts, musicians, cooks, everyone in between coming in on this set of Today in Nashville. And she is always so kind-hearted and so energetic, has a great way of connecting with people and making you feel seen and heard, even though she's got her brain, I'm sure, running around 5,000 different things. And I want to give accolades and applause to literally everyone at WSMV. That's a great reason for that button right there. The team, I know everyone says this, but there are so many people behind the scenes to get to where I can stand at the news desk and broadcast or be out in the field. All of these people were so kind, and they just talked to me about how it really is a family in there and how they are the reason the other person took that job. And I just looked at this space and I said, I think this is something that I feel I want to be a part of. And so shout out to all of those on-air people and then everyone behind the scenes.
You know what? Actually, you talked about behind the scenes a little bit. Give me a name of someone that no one's heard of, that puts in that work, that they are behind the scenes and they like being behind the scenes. But if it wasn't for this person, you would never be on the screen.
Oh my gosh. Well, if I name one, I got to name them all. The directors at Channel 4. So they're the ones who are basically progressing the show. So that's Caleb Chaney, Stephanie Petty, Thomas Cresswell, it's Jackson, Alex, and her last name is escaping me right now because it's complicated. Anyway, all of these directors, and Chuck Berthelot, all of these folks, they're the ones that are in our ears, okay? So they're sitting back in the booth, progressing the show. The producer kind of stacks it and puts what's going to be on the news in order. They progress it, but then also when there's things happening with the mic, the cameras are going awry, the screens are broken, they're the ones that are sprinting down the hall. Like, you won't see this, but in maybe a soundbite or a story that's running, they'll come in and grab the mic out of the back of your dress, just have to unzip it, and the batteries are flying everywhere, and they're go, 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 and they make it all come together, zip you back up, and hop right off camera just in the nick of time before it comes back to you.
Speaking of that, because there are a lot of things, a lot of fumbles and stumbles along the way when it comes to live television, but as our community, as our demographic are so used to being real, right? We're now creating community on social media. It's not even followers anymore. I think people like the stumbles. People like the silliness of, oh, I can't hear anything. Excuse me, I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I think people like that. So, you know,
I guess it's a different time that we're living in because the folks that are running the show, they grew up with everything has to look
exactly
super clean, super tight knit. They can't see you changing the back of your ear, doing all the hard stuff. But it seems like our generation is a lot more open for those stumbles. Do I got that right?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's really interesting hearing some of those anchors that I told you I work with. Lauren Lowry was just talking to me the other day about it is so much more accepted now to even down to having, and don't look at my nails because they're bad now, but she gets glittery sparkle nail color. And even that a few years ago was just so frowned upon. It was not allowed. Any kind of patterns like this dress would not have probably been allowed on air. Long hair, not allowed. And definitely not broadcasting your mistakes, if you will. I do still believe there is a fine line because I want people to watch WSMV, watch me, watch my colleagues, and look at us and say, those are people I can trust. Those are people who are going to keep me safe and alive in a storm or tornadoes like we have here, or tell me the things that I need to know, and I'm going to trust those people. So if I'm seeing Lydia Fielder posting TikToks like dancing around all the time on the set, or constantly the only thing that I'm posting is like messing up, for example, it could kind of chip away at that professional feeling. But on the other hand, I don't want these people to be robots. And I do appreciate when I see Lydia, like I posted this funny video on my Instagram story the other day. I had to say, talk about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile on TV. And
you know who does that, right? Well, of course you do, because you did the research on it behind it. You know, that's just a college kid.
Oh, yeah. He's like an intern, essentially. He just
and they do it for free, I think.
Right.
I think they get money. I think they get money at the end of the trip.
Maybe a stipend or something like that to eat.
And they go everywhere. They go everywhere, and they change different interns to drive the Oscar Mayer Wiener bus, and then they get paid after they do it.
Don't forget.
Wow.
Well, and then to your point, that's what the story was. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and the person driving it had crashed on the interstate somewhere. I can't remember, Chicago, and everyone was fine. And so in that case, it was something that my co-anchor Tracy started giggling because she was like, how many times are you going to have to say Wienermobile in one script? And then she made me start laughing. We're live on TV. We couldn't get it together. So I was like, Tracy, just take it away. Perfect example here of the professionalism versus personality. In that story, had that been 4 people died in this accident with the Wiener, like you cannot afford to go on air and start laughing about it, right? So it's a fine line, but back to your question of mess ups and slip ups, people do appreciate it, and it happens like often.
You know, it's very interesting to hear you say that, because a lot of times the one thing that I love about Heart of the Gulch is that I'm allowing the folks that are in front of the camera to give you guys that time to shine. First of all, it's amazing that your team, shout out to the team that allowed you to be here. Yes, because that's one thing you guys may not know. If you ever see an anchor like Bob or Lydia or anyone else we have on the show, they have to get permission from, the directors, because it is a serious thing, because your personality's out there on camera.
Yeah.
And that is something that's amazing that you're able to do. They're allowing you to be yourself, allowing you to have opportunities like this to express your opinion, but still have that professionalism in the workplace. But going back to what I was trying to say is, when you have these stories and these moments that are lighthearted and a little bit more fun than something tragic, do you believe that people are watching the news for the news, or are they watching to see you?
Oh, I don't believe anyone's watching to see me. Like, I don't think that's ever going to be something that's I truly absorb. Now, someone like Lisa Spencer, our meteorologist, she's been here for over, like Holly Thompson, almost 30 years for both of them. And I don't want to misspeak. It might even be more. A lot of folks tune in who are of the older generation who have been watching Holly Thompson, for example, at WSMV for 27 years now. They're going to turn on the TV because they love to see Holly.
I turn on the TV to see you. Well, and also Breezy too.
And Breezy and all these other personalities, and Carrie at Channel 5 and Rory. I mean, everyone. Yes, you are a public figure. That is true. Social media nowadays kind of allows us more of that connection piece with people. So if there's things we can't say because we have a 4-sentence story about a woman stealing a glass of milk. We can go on our social media and talk about it a little more or just show our personality a little bit. And that's where it allows that space to kind of connect with people, and people comment all over Holly or Amanda Harris posts or sometimes my posts. Like, we love seeing you at 3:00. Thanks for being there. But people, I think nowadays, if they're turning on TV news, it's because they want to see the weather or there's a breaking news event and they want to know what's happening right now.
You know, to dive in a little deeper, and these are questions that I'm curious to know. So with podcasting, with digital media being more and more available, where there's people that make a lot of money just on their phone, and honestly on their phone, that makes it even more connectable to the people that are watching it, because you don't need to have all these lights, camera, action. But what is the next transition for these folks like myself? Right. So I ask that to myself all the time. Everyone has a podcast, and there's better people. Shout out to John. He has a podcast. They do better than I do. But the thing is, what is that next step for us? Is it going to be news? Because I'm thinking about all these people that have fallen in love with talking to you guys. What is our next career path going to be? Is it going to be in news? Is news going to take a chance on podcasters? Are we going to go into more hosting gigs? And if that's the case, it got a lot harder because there's so many great people that are behind these mics. So what do you think? Because you went the more traditional route.
Yep.
You went in straight up as a person that was going to do hard-hitting stories, but also tell stories of the community. In my situation, I'm going in talking about the people that are telling the stories. Where does it lead from here?
It's interesting because I remember in high school, I had a teacher. He was one of my favorite teachers. Shout out Mr. Collette, my orchestra director. Exactly. But then the next sentence I'm about to say doesn't paint him in a great light. But I remember he told me, why do you want to be in TV news? There's no jobs and no money. That actually was probably pretty true, but I remember him saying that and going, gosh, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like to this point, I've been able to keep my head down and be adaptable and creative and kind of go with the changes of the world. And so far that has served me well. I was able to get a job in TV news. I was able to get a second job in TV news here in Nashville. And so to you, I would say, who knows what the future is after Twitter rose and kind of fell back. Now it's X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is huge. Podcast blew up. I think that what we are doing, what we have in common is that adaptability, the one ability to work hard. You, Tony, work so hard at your craft. You have a beautiful product. If you guys didn't know this, even the email invites he sends out to kind of pitch coming on this podcast, it's so perfectly curated. You can tell you put a lot of time, energy, and effort into something that might not always give it back, right, to you.
You guys being here give it back.
Well,
and you guys watching this give it back. So I appreciate that.
And I know you do. But just to show that we can work hard and we're willing to do that and put in that work. And I always said this about, and in any job interview I ever had, just because I have a degree in something doesn't mean that I know everything. That applies for everyone. It doesn't mean we know everything about it, but it means we are willing to put in the work to learn how to do it. And as long as we are willing to make those changes and kind of adapt, I mean, I'll say this straight up, TV news is dying. TV news is dying. News is not dying. There is always going to be news happening in the world. People are always going to want to look on some platform, whether it's their phone, on the television, on this next generation TV, which is rolling out. That's supposed to be the next big thing, next gen TV. Whatever it is, and go, what is going on? I just passed this huge emergency scene over in the nations. What is going on there? And they're going to go try to find that information. Hey, there's huge changes coming to Metro City about the way that police can pull people over, et cetera, et cetera. People are always going to want to know what's going on. There's always going to be news. It's just how people consume it is different.
If you had to describe Nashville's market, how would you describe it to a person that's watching this in another market?
It is the biggest small town, okay? So you're still in a big city. It has this amazing feel, but there's so much to do. But on the flip side, it feels like I go somewhere every time I go somewhere, I see someone I know or my boyfriend knows or my friend's friends, and I'm thinking, there's a million people in this market. How am I running into someone in the restaurant on a Thursday night? It's a small town vibe, but a big city, and I love that about Nashville.
What is one misconception people have working as a news reporter and anchor?
The glamour. Okay, so no, these are the questions we get so frequently. Nobody does our hair and makeup. Nobody dresses us. Most of the time, we do not get money for our clothes. We don't get money for makeup or nails or hair. So we have to be good at doing all of that too, and knowing what looks good on us, how to do our makeup, how to do our hair and nails. And that's just like super trivial. But yeah, and a lot of times we are by ourselves. So I'm cutting my own video. I'm writing my own story. I'm shooting my own video at that, pitching the story. I mean, from top to bottom, it's pretty much, if you're an MMJ especially. Now, it's better than I'm an anchor. I have a little bit more support with a photographer. But we are doing it kind of all on our own.
What is one place that someone recognized you for being on TV that was the most random of places?
Well, this is going to sound so bad. The first time I remember ever getting recognized on TV, it was during COVID. I was 22, and I was on my way to my friend's house. She had just graduated law school, took her bar exam, and I pulled up. We couldn't even go in, so I drove through the liquor store. And I was just getting one mini bottle of champagne to take to her, and the lady at the window goes, "Are you on TV?" And I go, "Oh, just give me the bottle and let me be ashamed and drive away. It's not even for me." So yeah. And then the people at the local Publix at Capitol View, they are avid. They must be Channel 4 watchers, because they'll say hi when we come in.
That is so funny. You know, you're not the only person to say that. I don't know what it is, but when it comes to, wow, this is going to sound really crazy, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Everybody who's been on TV says they've been recognized at a liquor store. I met Bob Mueller for the first time ever at Total Wine.
Yes.
I see Neil at Total Wine all the time. I'm not saying that you guys have a tough job, but it's just so funny that is the number one place that most people on TV get caught at, and you guys feel a little funny about.
Or maybe they just have the confidence, the employees there, to just say it. I don't know. It's just, I'm not frequently in a liquor store. I mean, we have DoorDash now for anything, and I'll just go to Publix, get a bottle of wine. But yeah, that's attorneys are notorious for drinking, and I'm sure journalists too.
If you had to describe the University of Arkansas to someone, whether it is from the journalism perspective or just the city's perspective, how would you describe the University of Arkansas?
The University of Arkansas is this beautiful pocket of earth in Fayetteville, Arkansas, with rolling hills and all four seasons and so many amazing people. And I feel like when you say Arkansas, people think flyover state. And I sit here all the time and I want to convince people, like, no, it's just more than meets the eye. When you go, you'll understand. It's just charming and magical, and it's SEC, but it's still kind of like Nashville, big school feel, but you're gonna see someone you know everywhere, and you get all the big sports, and just the facilities are beautiful. The journalism school, shout out to my professors, Robin Ledbetter, Tiffany King, Larry Foley. They prepared me for my job so well. And you're not going to be lost in a big lecture, but you still have that big school vibe. And if you ever have been to Northwest Arkansas or Fayetteville, so many people go, man, I understand what you're talking about now.
It's so surprising to me because, you know, when I think about Arkansas, it is one of the most gorgeous states in America. It is beautiful, especially it doesn't even have to be in the Ozarks. I mean, one of my favorite places to go in Arkansas is Hot Springs. Shout out to Don's, because Don's is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a little speakeasy spot. It's awesome. But now, speaking of which, my last question I have for that is, when was the last time that Arkansas beat Texas A&M in a football game?
Stop it. Stop. This is the worst. If I gave you a year, what? I don't even, like 20.
It's past a decade.
No,
It
yeah,
is.
it wasn't.
Past a decade.
Okay, so if for those of y'all who didn't know, football at least every year. This was the last year for it, I think. But Arkansas and A&M meet in Dallas, and they play at AT&T Stadium, which is the Cowboy Stadium. That game, all 4 years of college, was the most fun weekend of my entire semester.
It's amazing.
Those games go into overtime almost
Every time.
year. So it's not like A&M's over there just wiping the floor with Arkansas. It's a close game, and also Arkansas's football program has been a little tough. But Coach Petrino's back. Coach Pittman's going to get us in the right direction. What was it, 2014?
Man, I can't tell you. Well, yeah, but it's not that I knew the answer. I just knew Texas A&M won a lot. And I remember when you guys had that coach that literally looked like a Razorback. I forgot his name.
I'm not gonna say.
All right, I'll stop that.
No, that's hilarious. You're not gonna. Oh, you mean the guy came from Wisconsin, Brett Bielema?
Yeah, I think that was him. He looked like a Razorback. I swear to God.
Like after Bobby Petrino had his
Yes.
whole motorcycle accident. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, Google. That's hilarious.
I appreciate you playing that because I thought it was fun. A lot of random questions in there.
Yeah.
But we're both from that era of just experiencing things and having fun. And speaking of experiencing things, I have this game over here that I've incorporated in the show.
Okay.
It's a spin the wheel game. Granted, a lot of the questions have to do with musicians, but there are a lot on there that can be open up to everything.
Okay.
So we'll do 2 of them. I want you to give it a good spin and read the question, and then give me your answer.
Also, just so y'all know, I can't see anything that's written on here, and I have not read any of these. Okay, you want me to read this?
Yep, let's do it.
It says, oh, this is great. It's the most embarrassing moment on stage.
Or in front of the camera.
Let's think about it, because there have been a few, lighthearted ones that come to mind. They're not super embarrassing, but you're just like, what did I just do? I've walked in front of, or in the background of, the other cameras in the station, the studio rather, that are hot, and I didn't know, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hot meaning on.
Hot meaning on, exactly. And especially the green screen for the weather wall. Sometimes you don't know that that's on, and so I've walked a couple times now since I've been at WSMV, just right in front of those cameras where they're, and I'm like, most embarrassing was when I said, and I won't say the word. Actually, it's not a bad word, but I was reporting breaking news. In Fayetteville, Arkansas, and it was 10 o'clock at night, and 45 seconds before the news we went live, they said they have made an arrest in connection to the story that you're reporting, which was a shooting at the county fair. Okay, so I'm sitting here supposed to be serious, and I meant to say police have made an arrest in connection to, but I got so jumbled and I was so like, oh my gosh, okay, breaking news, that I said Fayetteville police have an fill in the blank arrest in connection erection. It's actually
You said erection. That's funny.
I said Fayetteville police have made an arrest in connection to, and I turned immediately red. You can see it on the camera. My photographer behind the camera started dying laughing, and I'm still having to get through this. This is a story about I don't remember if it was a deadly shooting, but a serious shooting. And I said that on air. I was mortified.
It's very crazy because you think about these lights and cameras, right? And especially if you're doing a live broadcast, whenever it is, hopefully I do not jinx anything today. But when you are in front of the camera, that actually scares a lot of people. And then when you stumble, having the ability to keep going, that scares a lot of people. And you can even bring it into, one thing I try to do is stand up. Stand up was the hardest thing in the world. And it's not because of the lights are hotter. The lights are really on you in stand-up. But even worse is that you don't have a moment to just go and pick it back up.
Nope.
You have to be out there just like anyone else. And it's the same way on TV. I just think that if your environment is in the right environment, or you get used to being in that environment, you get more practice in being under it. Because
comfortable.
Comedians, doesn't matter the comedian. I feel the reason why they're able to articulate so well is because they're just in front of the environment of people looking at them. And it's not that they have to be funny. They're just being themselves.
Yeah. It takes time, too, to learn that. I've only been in this 5 years, right? But in comedians, no one becomes, my boyfriend, John, is a stand-up comedian. And he says it's really hard to become a prolific comedian until you're in your 40s. Because you finally have something to say, for one. But I would imagine that also comes with just letting go of this I have to be perfect nature of having everything rehearsed and memorized. That's why John became a comedian, actually, is because he was going to do news, and he was a broadcast journalism major at Samford, who now Texas A&M has their basketball coach. Shout out Bucky McMillan.
Yeah.
Had to get that in there. There you go, John. But he was interning at the news station in Birmingham, and he was reading the prompter or watching the anchors do it, and he goes, John asked, do you have to say everything that's on the prompter? And they go, yeah, pretty much. We need to stick to the script, legally, but also news is in the business of just extemporaneously
it's
kind
quick.
of going, we got to keep it moving.
There is no explaining the story in a more colorful way.
Right.
It is pretty hit.
You can go on the website for that. And so the anchor looked at John, he goes, you should try stand-up comedy. And so John did, because he's never been good at sticking to a script in the best way. And so he can kind of just take the situations as they come. That's comedy is so.
Now, what about you? Do you find it a little easier to have that prompter, to have the person in your ear saying, okay, this is more serious? Do you enjoy that? Or do you feel that you can do something like this where you can sit in front of a microphone, just be yourself, which I think you have a great personality to do
thank
this.
you.
Which one do you like?
Well, I got into this, Tony, because I wanted to do not news, but I really thought I wanted to do entertainment, sports entertainment, what you're doing. And
Being a fielder?
Being a fielder, if you will. Thank you. Family name. The only way and the best way to get into that, especially coming from Arkansas, where there's not a huge market for entertainment and sports, is getting into local news. If you can show that you are able to have those skills and the adaptability to work hard in a local news station, that is going to translate so well into the world of entertainment. You learn cameras and mics, you learn timing, you learn going with the flow. And back to your question of, am I more comfortable in the studio with something in my ear? It's great that news presents the opportunity for me to do all of those. I love the Nashville market because one day I will be sitting behind the desk, yes, reading the prompter. Even though the stuff is in the prompter, you would be amazed. People would be amazed to look at what's going through the prompter and then what we're actually saying. Because most of the time it is not matching.
It's easier to say certain words than it is by the script or the
it's
copy.
not matching verbatim. We'll throw in some stuff. We'll add some color, or like, gosh, that would be, if there's a horrendous accident, I don't just want to be like, and all 12 children died. Anyway, to Dan with the weather, you want to be human.
Yeah, 100%.
And humanize that. Like, gosh, that makes me feel emotional. I feel so heartbroken for those families today that are having to find that news out. Yep. And it is an art to transition. But then also the Nashville part of this is getting to go to do the CMA Award red carpets or the Opry 100 carpets that's more of an opportunity. We're just live streaming the whole thing on our
it's more live in front of people.
All 100% live. There is no prompter. There is no cue card or questions. You just have to, on the fly, be listening to what they're saying, interact with them just like you're doing with me, and going back and forth and being engaged and involved. And you can't just be thinking of a prescribed list of questions.
Oh, I didn't see you guys there. Hey, if you're enjoying the content that we provide, please consider subscribing to our Heart of the Gulch YouTube show. Hit the subscribe button that's right in front of you, or hit the Heart of the Gulch logo over here in the corner. And of course, like magic, hit the recommended subscribe button that's over here in the banner. We would love to have you guys here at the Heart of the Gulch YouTube channel. And let's get you back onto that interview right now. Is the news, if you think about it. So let's do one more quickly, and then I'll leave you my last two questions.
Love it.
All right, let's see what it is.
Come on. I feel like we need a theme song to this. Did I get it?
Ooh, that's funny. Weirdest thing you've ever autographed.
Well, I've never autographed anything.
You're lying.
I mean, people don't really do that anymore.
What do you mean?
Because now it's all about selfies.
Okay, talk to me about that. Weirdest thing you've ever taken a picture with an admirer or a fan. Weirdest place.
Oh, you might have to cut this part while I think, and then we can. I don't know.
Think about all the events you guys go to.
I know, but in I will say this about Nashville.
I knew this is what I was gonna say.
There's so many celebrities here. I'm just a girl who's been here 2.5 years. I'm on the TV. I'm a news anchor. I take my job seriously. I'm confident in that. But if you think about your local news reporter sitting out at a Mexican restaurant, you and your family walk in and you're like, oh, there's the girl in the news. That's Lydia. I'm going to go, okay, well, hope she's enjoying her meal. I'm not really going to
Well, that's
go
Nashville too.
Right, but I'm also not akin. Now, if it was like Post Malone or someone sitting there, those people are going to be waiting for him to stand up, or Morgan Wallen or Kelsey Ballerini. People are going to wait for them to stand up so they can run after them and
That's
grab a
not
photo.
true, because
sometimes in Nashville that does happen, like respectfully, in a good
Bob
way.
Mueller's a great example. Now, I get Bob Mueller's a pillar in the community, right?
Yeah.
Or Carol, right? They've been seen in Nashville for a
Yes.
long time.
Yes.
But the thing is, though, it's that you guys are kind of our light to the city. If it wasn't for you being on the news at 3 o'clock telling me what's going on, I wouldn't have a connection. I can read about horrific things every day. The difference is that I know you. I know what you're talking about. I know your
Right.
personality through the TV. That adds that connection. And then now you have your social media that allows even more connection. So when you say that, who am I, which is a humble brag to say, who am I? But it's a real thing where you guys are more in the limelight than half the time some of these celebrities. You're seen more than celebrities sometimes.
Well, and that's probably true. And I think the turnover in news these days, or the amount people are coming in and out, it makes
Sure.
it a little less of a, the people who grew up watching the news, like our parents' age, they are the ones that go, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so from the. I remember when I was
100%,
young,
yeah.
like we had guys in high school tweeting the local news anchor asking her to prom, like silly stuff like that, because that was really, that was when you tuned into the news.
Would you ever do that?
What?
If a kid here in Tennessee tweeted you or DM'd you saying, will you go to prom with me? Would you ever consider that?
That actually has happened, I think, once. I would not, considering no, I would not go to the prom, but I would most definitely try to answer and say that's very flattering or sweet. I hope you had the best time. You should take a classmate.
Okay, well,
There's some girl out there who just doesn't have a date. You should take her.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scary thing about TV, man, is that TV, you guys either get hated on or get a little too much love. There's a lot of love for you guys out there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's always the love that you do not expect that pop up. But shout out to you guys for watching. And but breaking it down, my last two questions on the show, which I ask every episode, and these guys know this, has to do with imposter syndrome. There's days that you don't feel as hot, right? There's days that you don't realize what you're gonna do, in the next 5 years, or how you're gonna get to that spot in the next 5 years. These voices in your head. Yeah. How do you not let those voices in your head affect your day-to-day life? And what pieces of advice can you give the person watching this right now to not let those little voices in their head impact them?
This question literally makes me emotional. I'm tearing up about this because I haven't been successful at not letting that impact me. In fact, my whole journey to Nashville, to the anchor spot that I have now, when I first got hired, I told you, it just is not. Let me rephrase it this way. To get a job in Nashville was just not your second job. And so
100%.
When I did, there's this huge celebration and a send off. My family threw me and all these exciting things. And the first week in Nashville, my first day on the job, this just panic and dread set in and set over me. And people who struggle with panic attacks or anxiety would understand. It was just like this weight that went on my chest. And I said, what am I doing? Like, I am not good enough to be here. They must have made a mistake. They don't know that I've never anchored. They don't know. I'm just this girl from Arkansas trying to report in this big city. And for a week or two, I could not hardly sleep or eat. I was just so nervous thinking, gosh, holding myself to such a high standard. I think that was the problem from the beginning. And it's just funny. I tell this story because like one of those nights, my boyfriend and I, we went to a Pitbull concert, like full bald caps.
I remember this.
Dressed up like Pitbull and everything. And he's our favorite. And I'm thinking like, this is going to snap me out of this just worry and anxiety that I'm having. And we go to this concert and the whole time I'm like, fireball. I am so nervous. How am I going to survive in Nashville? And I think back to that. And then I think to this moment where my management sat me in their office in January and said, we want you to be our new 3 o'clock anchor. And I like look at that girl who was so stressed and worried that she wasn't good enough to be in Nashville and think, thank you, God, like that you heard my prayers and settled me down and just allowed me to say, okay, Lydia, who is putting all this pressure on you to perform? These people didn't hire you to expect you to have an Emmy award-winning story day 2 of your job. And that's what I would say to folks at home is just, You are good enough to do it. If you put your mind to it, do not let that doubt creep in. It's so easy, but you are here for a purpose. God has a plan for your life. God had a plan for my life. And I look back and I go, oh my gosh, there were so many questions sometimes surrounding, like, was this the right job to take when I first got here? And now I look back at the last 2.5 years and at the spot I'm in now. I worked weekends for my whole career. 5 years of my job. I worked the morning shift. Transparently, the first year, or the first market that I was in, Tony, you asked about misconceptions about news. We do not make a lot of money in your first or second markets. I made $28,000 a year before taxes.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
And I don't mean to be tacky by saying that, but people don't realize that, we are so many journalists all across the country. I had to live with my parents because I couldn't afford to pay rent. Some people that I know qualify for food stamps in their first markets. $28,000 a year pre-tax.
And and you're absolutely right. And I'm not trying to cut you off on that. It's a real thing. When it comes to TV and especially news, it's a corporate world that they live in. They know everyone wants to do it. There's a lot of people to pick from.
That's exactly right.
So they pick the number that is kind of livable. I would say that.
Yeah, a lot of people have second jobs. I mean, when I first moved here.
And the hours are absolutely, for that 28 grand you made, you probably woke up at 4 a.m.
I mean, 1:45 every day for 2 years, my alarm went off.
$28,000.
1:45 in the morning, I had to be on air, ready for air at 3 a.m. And you work 15-hour days sometimes. And it's a tough job if you're in it for the money. I will say that. And gone are the glory days of the anchors being paid millions of dollars, at least in my understanding, because there is such turnover now and people will do it. So all that to say, to get back to your question of imposter syndrome, yes, I had it. I have it. I experienced it. I go, what? Now I'm sitting here. I'm a 27-year-old woman in Nashville, and I'm one of the stewards of news in this community. And I can sit confidently in the chair now at 3:00 and I say, I am good enough for this. I have to believe that because I'm steering this ship. Me and this whole community of people at WSMV and at Channel 2 and Channel 5 and Fox 17, we are curating local content, and I am good enough to sit there and do that. And it makes me tear up because I just look at the goodness of where I am now, contrast to the horrible panic and anxiety I felt when I first got hired, thinking, gosh, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if I'm going to live up to this. But I've always done that, whether it was in school or in college. And at time and time again, it works out. And I just have to thank God. And my faith is something that I lean on so heavily. And just like this willingness to learn and to say, you know what, I'm not the best here. Or even if I might be, there's so much still to learn that every day I'm willing to come in and do that.
It takes a lot of guts to do and admit that, because a lot of times people out here want to do anything. You have the ability to do whatever you want to do. You just have to kind of go out there and do it. You have to put one foot in front of the other, and you can make anything possible. Because like I said, when we came into this town practically at the same time. I came in as a corporate employee for one of the biggest employers in the world, and I didn't know anyone of significance in my community. So I allowed myself to take the leap of faith, start a program, start a show.
Yeah.
And now when I walk in the door anywhere in Nashville, it's crazy to think that people know me and they know the program that I created.
Yeah.
And it goes to show what you're able to do if you just put one foot in front of the other, not listen to, can you do this? Will you not be able to do this? It's not an easy thing to do what you do and what I do or what you do.
Right.
But the thing is that if we don't work hard, if you don't work hard, you'll never get to the place that you want to go. So speaking of where you want to go, my last question of the show, love that rhymed. 2025, what do you have planned up for 2025? What are you looking forward to this year and at the top of 2026?
I'm looking forward to just settling in truly to this 3 p.m. anchor spot on WSMV. That's where you can find me Monday through Friday most times. The award shows come back around. CMA awards are always fun. We just did the Opry 100th anniversary.
I did see that. That's right.
Which was the biggest red carpet that I've ever been a part of. And that actual show is coming up, I believe, in October and November. So not sure what we're going to do with that, but this exciting things and really just finding a rhythm. This is kind of the boring answer, but again, I've worked weekends my whole career since 2020, 5 years. I don't know if that seems like a long time. When you're in your young 20s, it does.
It's a long time in your young 20s.
Yes, and any wedding, I would have to take off, use 2 or 3 PTO days for. No football season really anymore unless I plan that year. I'm going to miss 1 weekend of work because you don't have as many days when you first start at a station. And so just enjoying what it looks like, Tony, to have a weekend, like to go do things when other people are out doing them that I'm not running around. It's kind of nice when you have Thursday, Friday off to run errands and things like that. But yeah, just to experience football season again, go back to the University of Arkansas, Woo Pig. There's Ric Flair. And just to be on the weekends. And then personally, my boyfriend, like I said, he's a stand-up comedian. John Christ, he's on tour right now. So these next few weekends are loaded up. Like last weekend, I was just in Tulsa at his show, met my whole family there. This coming weekend, I'm going to San Diego with him for his shows. And then LA the next weekend.
I hate flying that much. I don't know how y'all do that.
It's tough. Yeah, and then you take a red eye and go right back to work on Monday. But I've got the energy for it. It's fun. And we just Charlotte after that. And so looking forward to the summer and then his fall tour and seeing where that takes us. I mean, at the drop of a hat last month, GMA called and they said, if you can get here tomorrow, John, would love to have you on to promote your new special. And he was like, can you go to New York? And I said, let me see if my bosses will let me off. And the team, again, is so cool. They're so understanding. They're like, yeah, we'll have someone fill in for you. Have fun.
I hope one day in this world that I have the ability or have the power, whether it's as my own program or with the program that's employing me, where I give a call to a guest and they drop what they do to go see it. That is a dream. So shout out to those folks that are able to get that, because it's really just, this. I may not be working at 3 a.m. in the morning, but I'm crawling for each individual guest I get.
You do.
So it's absolutely incredible that there are places, and that's the goal, at least for me. And it's cool to know what your goal is, because I think settling into the right space, settling your mind space, and just going all at it, being yourself. It's amazing to see how far you've come within the past 2 years of being here.
I agree.
And it's absolutely amazing. But the way that we tee off, I hope we have time to do this, but the way I'm going to tee this off is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, this is how I walk the line, and then we'll transition it into your behind the scenes, which I'm excited to see what that looks like. And you ready to do it?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
After the applause here in 3, 2.
I'm Lydia Fielder, WSMV 4 news anchor, and this is how I walk the line. Hey everybody, welcome to WSMV 4. I'm Lydia Fielder, one of the anchors here, and we're excited to give you a behind-the-scenes tour exclusively for Heart of the Gulch. Come on in. As reporters and journalists, we should spend the least amount of time is at our desks, because our goal is to be in the field gathering content. But before the show, it's 2:32. We got plenty of time. I'll read it in the rundown. So this is what the producer has put together. Top of the show often changes. Actually, it's changed in the last few minutes here.
Everything's pink.
If you haven't noticed, I love pink. So the office tour, I kind of just moved in here, so it's blank, but we're gonna make it work. I try to go every Monday. Romanticize your life. I stop by Whole Foods in the Gulch and get myself a little $10 bouquet of mini flowers and put them in here. I change them out every week. Here's my NOAA weather radio. Always important to have, to be weather aware in the event of emergency. And then everything else in here, I try to have a pink background.
Sometimes I can go, Lydia?
Yeah.
Or she's heard me react before. I'll get something or see something on my phone or see an email and go, oh no, oh crap. Even if it's like under my breath, oh crap. And then, like, this was just like last week or 2 weeks ago, and she's like, do you need help? And like the voice is coming from over the top or around the corner, and I'm like, I think I actually do need help. Can you help me?
Yeah, so right here we're showing you the WSMV 4 studios. Right now all the monitors are dark. They need to take a little break after the early newscast. They turn them off, conserve power. In about 5 minutes here, they're gonna fire back up once the directors get back in the booth and turn everything on, and then we are 10 minutes to showtime at that point. Yeah, that breaking news here at the 3 o'clock hour. State health officials say there are now 2 additional cases of the measles here in Tennessee, now bringing the total to 6 cases.
When you have a connection to a place, it's especially hard to cover. But as you mentioned, Lydia, yes, at least 6 people are receiving treatment at the hospital right now.
All right, chances are you've probably gotten a text message from a number you don't know, right? But that could be a scam, and it's one that's costing people millions of dollars across the country. We'll tell you what you need to watch out for coming up. Plus, a massive sinkhole is causing a headache for some neighbors here in the mid-state. Braden Ross will share their story. That's later at 3:30. And now we're on to first commercial break. There we go. Yes, so sorry, this is the remote, and it scrolls that prompter that runs. It runs behind the camera lens, you can see it. I'm looking at it, and it's just helpful so the people in the booth don't have to work also to run that. CT scan could be a cause of cancer. WSMV's Marius Payton is following this story. Marius, tell us what you found out about all of this.
Well, this is kind of concerning. Scientists say CT scans could account for about 5% of cancer cases in the United States and 3 times what previous estimates were. The data is coming from the University of California at San Francisco.
This has been a behind-the-scenes tour of the WSMV4 News Studios. Hope you were able to learn something today. You can catch me every day, Monday through Friday, right here starting at 3 o'clock, again on WSMV4. And be sure to continue to watch new episodes of Heart of the Gulch.